Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. As you know, we have, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. We continue with day 6 of the Super Junior Tag League, and I believe we are focusing mostly on the B block matches only. And then, of course, we have TNA dealing with the aftermath of Bound for Glory, with, of course, certain situations involving Joe Hendry and Nick Meneth and various other things as well. And then, of course, we have Ring of Honor featuring the Ring of Honor Women's World Title on the line in a somewhat brutal match again between Abaddon and Athena. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing, of course, ChocoPro's much recent event that took place a day before Halloween, which is they have the mystery Halloween Rumble. Basically, everybody will be dressed up in the Rumble, so that's going to be a very fun match to enjoy. Then we cap up our episode with, of course, with some news updates to give you guys an update on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world, pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can put it either on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, do the Nagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. If you like what you see, please subscribe to us, so click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside, it's time to ride to the sunset. So let's begin with our very first review, and that is ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro number 304. Now, those who ever seen ChocoPro during the Halloween holiday, well, you're in treat. The main event is, of course, called the Mystery Halloween Royal Match. Basically, a Rumble match. Basically, everybody's dressed up, so it's a lot of fun. Now, in the opening of the entire show, we have Balanaki coming out dressed up like Goku. Yes, that's right, folks. If you guys are big fans of Dragon Ball Z, then you guys know what I'm talking about. He dressed up like him. I don't know if he looks good because he's Hindu, but wearing the outfit, awesome. I like it. So, yeah, he gave the lowdown and all that. And then we started out with our first match, which is Shin Suzuki versus Hijo de Alibrije, which is a wrestler based out of Mexico. I've seen Alibrije before. So, however, the match was okay, and there was a moment where, of course, Alibrije was, in fact, crossing the line, basically using his belt and all that. But, unfortunately, this match ended in a time limit draw after 10 minutes. So, that's pretty much what happened. Now, the main event, of course, was the Mystery Halloween Rumble match. We have many people dressed up. This is who we had. We have Chico Shikawa dressed up like a somewhat of a Chinese waiter. Ire Kane dressed up as Ash from Pokemon. Mei Shriga, a witch, which, of course, Balanaki knows the kind of person she is. Hiroyi Yawada as a chef or something, I don't know. Miya Yatsuba as a cop. Kaho Hiromi, I don't know what she was dressed up, but she acts like a kid. Sayaka as Chucky. Tokiko Kihara as I don't know what they call her. And of course, Sayaka Obihiro as a samurai. So basically, but it's funny that Sayaka was dressed up as Chucky, trying to do the whole Chucky thing with stabbing people. But here's who got eliminated. First, it was Irikane. Then Hiroya Yamada, Kaho, Chi, Obi, Mio, Sayaka, and Mei. So basically, Mei got eliminated, and Tokiko won. So, so basically, the witch got melted, thanks to Kokiko. Now, our Jonkin tournament, well, I can tell you Alibrije did his first try, but they had to do it slow for him because he doesn't understand it too well, but it worked in his favor. But the winner of this was, of course, Chico Shikawa defeating Mei in the Jonkin tournament final. So I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. So you guys can check this out on their YouTube channel. So go check it out now. So I think we are done officially with ChocoPro. Let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, day 6 of New Japan's Super Junior Tag League. So we're going to focus on the B block matches only. Now, our first match, we have DKC versus Roppongi Vice, Yo and Rocky Romero. Now, of course, not a lot has speculated about this one. Now, I wasn't too sure where this was going because recently we did talk about how DKC and Ninja Mac, in fact, did not get along very well in the beginning. But they seem like they're getting their footing at some point. But in this particular case, it was somehow we're able to overcome it when Ninja Mac applied the Phoenix 630 splash onto Rocky Romero in order for them to pick up their next win. So they are now in total of 4 points, just like, of course, Roppongi Vice. Now, basically, this is becoming a tie, so sooner or later, someone has to advance. Our next match, we have the Velocities, Paris de Silva and Jude London taking on the Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida. Now, of course, best case scenario, if Velocities win, they can potentially get an opportunity of the IWGP Tag Team titles if they don't win the tournament. But, however, that's something that, of course, many people would say because you're beating against the current top junior tag team champions in New Japan. But out of nowhere, it was London who picked up the win by pinning Kushida when it was like a somewhat of a victory roll sunset flip. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was surprising, and I don't think Kushida didn't expect it, and I don't think Knight did either. But, as I said, Velocities do have a right to challenge for those belts. It's only a matter of time until that day comes, and that's not today, but we will see it coming. But, however, they gain 2 points with a total of 4 points, and the same thing is with the Jet Setters. They're also in 4 points. So, basically, we have ties here going on. Our main event, we have the Bullet Club, consistent of Taiji Shimori and Robbie X taking on Catch 2-2. Of course, Bullet Club has, of course, Robbie X, one of the most impressive high flyers, along with Taiji Shimori. But Catch 2 has been the most recognizable tag team in the junior heavyweight division. But it was, of course, a 2x2 onto Ishimori that allowed Catch 2 to pick up the win thanks to TJP pinning Ishimori, and just like that, it was over. However, another tie has happened. Basically, the teams both teams end up with four points exactly. So I don't know how this tiebreaker is going to go, but I'm looking forward to see how this is going to end. So we'll see what happens down the line with these teams. But for now, we'll just leave things as it is and move on with TNA. Okay, TNA. As you know, we are in the aftermath of Bound for Glory. At first, we heard the theme song from Joe Hendry, but nope. It's the so-called king. Frank Kazarian tried to impersonate him and all that. Even Joe Hendry tried to tell him to stop with this nonsense. But however, there is one thing that is on his mind, and that is, of course, the deal with JBL. Now, Nick Meneth set the record straight. He doesn't know what's going on. He said he did not know JBL was right there. He didn't see it. And he did mention that the system has been playing games and something. But here comes the actual system, themselves trying to act like they think, oh, you're trying to blame us for this. But of course, things got a little hectic. But as soon as everything changed, we did notice Nick Meneth will team up with Joe Hendry to take on the system. However, Alicia Edwards and Tasha Steelz call out Masha Slamovich, our new TNA Knockouts World Champion. Of course, Masha confront them until it became a 2-on-1 scenario until Jordan Grace showed up to handle to give her backup. But however, Santino Marella decided that the main event is going to be Nick Meneth and Joe Hendry taking on the system, Eddie Edwards and JDC. But next week, it's going to be Masha and Jordan versus Alicia and Tasha. So, can't wait to see that. Now, our first match, we have First Class consisting of Casey Navarro and AJ Francis taking on the Rascals, Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel. Now, of course, they're trying to get themselves back on track, but we know First Class have been making plays for a while now, and that's exactly what's been going on. But it was AJ Francis with the down payment on Trey Miguel that allowed them to pick up the win. All they need to do is rack up some wins in order to get a shot of the tag team titles, which is something that's on their goal. Now, we did see a match between the Good Hands and Josh Alexander teaming up, taking on Eric Young, Jonathan Gresham, and, of course, Steve Macklin. However, apparently, Josh Alexander just walked out, didn't give a damn about what happens with the Good Hand until, of course, John Skyler got KIA'd by, of course, Macklin, and just like that, it was over. So, I don't think Macklin cares. He just, all of that. But they did show a footage from the Bound for Glory match for the X Division title between Bayley and Vikingo. So, that's pretty much what took place. Then we did see, of course, Trent Seven not happy that he did not win the Collar Shot Gauntlet, and then Mike Bailey was with them, and then the system actually got involved, and then Mike Bailey confronts them saying, the X Division means no limit if you want the shot of the title. Now, I'm sure Moose is thinking the same thing, but I don't know if he's fully aware that the X Division title does give him option C, which is something that has been used before on certain occasions. But we'll see what happens. Our next match, we have Danny Luna versus Ash by Elegance. Now, of course, Ash has Heather and that stooge. Of course they were going to get in the way, and that's exactly what happened until Ash by Elegance applied the Swanton Bomb, which was no secret because something. But if I'm Danny Luna and Jody Threat, get Lars Fredrickson and deal with the stooge. That's what I would do. Now, our next match, we have Li Ying Lee, formerly known as Xia Li, taking on Maggie Moore. Well, I can tell you this match ended with Lee applying the Thunderstruck. But however, out of nowhere, Savannah Evans attacked her, saying that this is her time. Basically, she does not appreciate a newcomer taking the spotlight. But we'll see where that goes from there. Now, before our main event, Frankie Kazarian makes his way to the commentary booth. It's no secret that he definitely has an agenda because he is the winner of the Collar Shot Gauntlet, that he wants to win the TNA World title. But however, he had to pay attention to the match between the System's JDC and Eddie Edwards versus Joe Hendry and Nick Bennett. Now, I don't know exactly how things will go, but I figured it did because there was a miscue between Hendry and Bennett, but this allowed for Edwards to apply the Boston Knee Party on Bennett to pick up the win. And this is the first time in 6 months, according to what Tom said, that Nick Bennett has been pinned. I wouldn't be surprised if, by any means necessary, Edwards asked for a title shot since he pinned the champion. But I don't know exactly what the deal is with Hendry and Bennett. I know Hendry has a desire for the TNA World title, but sooner or later he has to get bounced back from it. But we'll see where that leads us from there. But for right now, we are done with TNA. Let's move on with Ring of Honor. Okay, we continue with, of course, Ring of Honor now. So, let's begin with our first match. We have Peter Avalon, who we haven't seen for quite some time, team up with Preston Vance to take on Beef and JD Drake. Now, what's unusual is, those who know this or not, we have, of course, JD Drake and Peter Avalon that used to be part of a group. I forgot the name of this. But, of course, they had to put that to the side eventually. But this match ended with Beef applying a frog splash onto Peter Avalon to pick up the match. JDC, he's like feeling, Anthony Henry, you left me with this idiot. You know, I feel like he feels like he's in a Twilight Zone or something. I don't know, but it's just too darn funny. But of course, we did see an interview with those guys with Lexi Near, but we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have Johnny TV versus Dion Russman. Not much about this match, but of course it was going to fall in favor with Johnny TV when he applied the Starship Pain, and just like that, it was completely over. Our next match, we have tag team action, the Gates of Agony, Bishop Khan and Teo Leona versus CSTJ and Dave Dutra. Well, you can guess this match ended with the Gates of Agony when they applied the Open the Gates on CSG, and Teo Leona was the one who picked up the win, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, seems that the Righteous have been saying some remarks towards Sammy Guevara and his family. Well, Sammy does not take the kindly, and neither does Dustin Rhodes, you know. He gave a stern warning to keep his family out of their mouths. And of course, it's no secret now that the Righteous are aiming at the ROH World Tag Team titles. But of course, they will give them the opportunity, under the condition to leave Sammy's family, his wife and daughter, out of their goddamn mouths, and they better leave it up that way. Now, our next match, we have Lady Frost versus Reina Isis, all the way from CML. This is the second time in a row we've seen her in. Wasn't too sure how it is because I'm a big fan of Lady Frost, you know. And, of course, Reina did pick up a good win last time. But the same result again happened with her doing a leg drop while Lady Frost was hanging up by the ropes. And just like that, it was over. Now, our next match is a Pure Wrestling Rules match between Aaron Solo and Matt Taven. This is something unique. But, however, I have a feeling that Matt Taven might have been in matches like these before. And he was able to pick up a good win when he applied a crossface onto Solo to pick up the win. But, however, in the post-match, Lee Moriarty comes out. Seems like we can see Taven has his sights set on the pure title, so we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have the Righteous versus Jay Marston and Solomon Tupo. Well, you can guess this match in it with the Righteous when when Vincent defeated a Malmstrom, and once again they were trying to destroy the ankles on Monstro, but luckily Sammy and Dustin show up to deal with them, so this feud is not over. But however, when Sammy and Dustin tried to speak their minds on their active behavior, we did see if the Righteous attacked them from behind, and they tried to dismantle Sammy, but luckily Dustin saved the day. So it seems now that the ROH World Tag Team titles are in play in this one. So we'll see where this leads with them. Now, our next match, we have Josh Woods versus Tomohiro Ishii. Now, of course, when it comes to Josh Woods being a member of the Premier Athletes, that weasel snake, Mark Sterling, was going to get involved, and so is Ariya Daivari, but that did not stop Ishii. Ishii did took out Woods with the Brainbuster. Then later there was a numbers game, but however, luckily Ishii's conglomerate teammate Kyle O'Reilly showed up, and then they were about to give a pounding on Sterling, but the Premier Athletes pulled him out. So we'll see what happens until then. Our next match, we have Top Flight in Action Andretti taking on Jossie, Trip Jordy, and Dante Leon. So it's kind of interesting. We have two Dantes in this match, but I can tell you that the real Dante that we know, Dante Martin, picked up the win when he defeated Dante Leon. But it was a pretty good match, but we have to be more observant what's been going on with the attitude of Action Andretti at some point. But yes. Next match, we have Billy Starks versus Blair Corp. Well, this match ended with Billy Starks with the pinfall. And I'm sure one way or the other, she may have to deal with Athena at some point. But we'll see. Now, prior before their next match, the infantry were approached by Shane Taylor Promotions talking about he needs soldiers like them in his camp. So basically, they kind of negotiated. And their first opponent is Spanish Announce Project, and that's exactly what happened. But it was the infantry who picked up the win with the boot camp on Angelico giving them the win. So it seems things are looking out for them thanks to Shane Taylor, who's brought them in. So we'll see where that goes. Our next match, we have, of course, Diamante versus Amina Edmont. Well, you can guess this match ended with Diamante, but sooner or later we know she will be, of course, dealing with Red Velvet once she gets her attitude straight. Lexi Neer, as you know, has been trying to get Billy Starks on good terms with Athena after what happened last time. Well, it seems that Billy Starks has no interest, so she decided to walk away. Decided not to be by her side, so we'll see what happens until then. Next match, we have the Iron Savages versus the Dark Order. Well, Iron Savages have said some remarks towards the Dark Order, but one thing that was interesting is Rod Reynolds was intending to. They tried to do the nightmare, the pendulum bomb, but due to the effects of Ryan Reynolds' ribs, it did not affect. But however, the combination between Reynolds and Silver did play out pretty well onto Jack Jamison, allowing for Reynolds to apply the jackknife and picking up the win. Now, our next match, we have Ariya Daivari versus Commander. Of course, Commander has to deal with, of course, Sterling and Woods, but luckily he took them out until he picked up the win on him by applying the Shooting Star Press, and it was over. Our next match, our main event, is the AEW Women's World Title in a horror match or something. Well, you can guess it was a lot of plunder, you know. There were some skewers that were stuck in Abaddon's head, but it was Athena that picked up the win. We were hoping, I think, somehow Athena needs to lose this match. I don't know if people are getting tired with her or not, but nonetheless, I think people are hoping that Billy Starks is the one that picks up the win. But for now, we'll leave things as it is with Ring of Honor and move on with our last and final thing, news updates. So welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events. Majority of it is all about the GCW stuff. As you know, on November 14th, they'll be in Louisville, Kentucky for Chaos in Kentucky. And the GCW World title will be on the line. Mance Warner defends it against Too Tough Tony. And then at the start of December for Say You Will in Chicago, Zachary Wentz will be in action to take on a former WWE superstar, Sidney Akeem, formerly known as Scripps, and Reggie. They will be doing another show on the 6th of December in Tampa called Ransom. 4 names have been announced, but there will be more to come to soon. We have Zachary Wentz, Matt Cardona, Sidney Akeem, and Rich Swann. And then the following day in Atlanta, Mastermind, they announced 4 more names. We have Mance Warner, Man Like Darius, Megan Bain, and Mr. Danger. So that's pretty much all of our upcoming events. Now let's talk about certain developments. First things first, congratulations on Ruby Soho and Angelo Parker on the birth of their first child. If you guys remember, Ruby Soho has been taking some time off when she found out she was pregnant, and it played a good storyline in their series. So we don't know when they'll be back, but we do know we hope to see them again. So we'll see. Fightful Select reports that Stephanie Vaquer nailed down the spiral tap, which was the move that she used recently. She said that she was allowed to use that using the Performance Center was very helpful. So that's pretty cool. Adam Copeland, who's been out of action for quite some time, donated $10,000 to Chris Bay to help him for his medical expense. That's pretty nice of him. I am really glad to hear he's doing something good. Hope Chris Bay returns a favor one day for him. So I think that's pretty much it for our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have, of course, more with New Japan with Super Junior Tag League. Then, of course, NXT Level Up and AEW Rampage. I don't know yet if there's anything else I want to put in. I do know there was a recent Stardom event, but I'll get to that at some point. But for now, we'll leave things as it is and move forward. I am developing other news updates separate because I want to get that out of the way. But as soon as I do it, you guys will be the first to hear about it. So until then, I will see you guys on the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.